everybody, and welcome in to the OnlyBets Sports Betting Podcast alongside my co-host SternBets and DrewDelucci. I am PrinceOfPicks. Hey, we've got a great slate of games going on today, guys. We're excited to get into it. We got the NBA in action, of course, college basketball, March Madness. Back in the swing of things here tonight as we are entering the round of 16, Sweet 16, as we get into the college basketball tournament. Of course, we got the MLB, the official, official opening day of Major League Baseball. I'm sure the boys are going to have a lot to say about that. So interested to see what kind of angles and games we should be looking at in terms of the Major League Baseball going on today. And of course, we have a lot of action on the pitch, guys. We've got World Cup qualifiers again. They're going to be starting here soon. You still have some time, though, if you want to listen to our podcast. We do have a special podcast covering the World Cup qualifiers. That's over on the channel. So be sure to tune into that real quick before you guys, these games kick off here in a little bit. 3:45 p.m. Eastern, I believe, is going to be the kickoff for a lot of these matches. I do have some more matches here. So you got some international friendlies as well that I'll be covering here shortly in the world of soccer. So a lot of games, guys, a lot of sports, a lot of things to cover here. We're really eager to get into it. Before we do that, if you guys can do us a real quick favor, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is that you get your podcasts. Just give us a real quick rate, review, and subscribe. It does a lot in terms of helping the channel grow. We'd really appreciate it. And with that being said, let me go and pass it over to my co-host, Mr. SternBets, Mr. Mosh. Good morning on this beautiful Thursday. How you doing, man?
Yeah, good morning, sir. I woke up today on the East Coast in Philadelphia, and you know what it smelled like?
Baseball season.
Day baseball, not just baseball season. We have day baseball today. I'm so excited to get into it. And Drew, I'm truly sorry, but I am going to have to rub your nose in a 7-0 loss yesterday by my Yankees over your Giants. Couldn't have gone worse in that second inning.
Starting off the show with shots fired. I love it. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm not worried. It's one game out of 162.
Oh man. Yeah, so it's going to be a really exciting season. Obviously the under in the first 5 didn't hit. All the runs came within the first 5 innings, I believe, and then the under sailed. So something to look out for. Didn't really see so much usage of the ABS system, which was interesting to me. Going to be looking to see how it's going to be used going forward. Like I said yesterday, I really think it's going to advantage the catchers, really, because they have the best viewpoint here. And then it will allow the pitchers to kind of paint the corners more than they would have. And then it's also going to get in trouble for people who have a little bit of control issues that used to rely on an expanded strike zone. Those pitchers are going to maybe struggle a little bit. And that is an angle that I brought into my picks today for the MLB, which we will very happily get into. But anyway, Drew, how you doing? Let's recap yesterday. Do you have any thoughts, reactions from yesterday's loss? Sorry, brother.
Oh, you're good. I'm not as worried as all. Of course, the Yankees did win, but there's 161 more games left, so there's always a lot to improve, and that's something that Tony Vitello is going to have to adjust to, especially in the pro game. Is like Barry Bonds said in the beginning, like what he's interested to see is how Tony Vitello handles the locker room during like 10-game losing streaks and stuff like that. Because in college, there's a lot less games, so he's lift their head up because they don't play till tomorrow and continue. I'm not necessarily entirely worried about Logan Webb. I saw in the second inning, the first inning, he looked great. In the second inning, he was either being too predictable or he was tipping something. He was throwing hittable first pitches, and he realized that. But what I got a big takeaway from yesterday was, the Logan Webb thing didn't catch. But, hey, managers, is like I predicted, they're letting the pitchers pitch. Like the fact that he still went 5 innings is crazy. So I see a lot of value on over and pitcher outs today. For especially pitchers that normally go 6, I've noticed with Vegas, they over-exaggerate that they think pitchers won't go as far as they did last year, but that's not necessarily the case. Like, hey, man, like the fact Logan Webb still went 5 and that's 15 outs is pretty crazy. And then Fried pitching, like I think it was like 6 2/3. So I'm interested in the pitching outs today a lot from that. But overall, yesterday, I went 1 2, I believe. I didn't hit the Logan Webb. Barely didn't hit the Maple Leafs game. I think it was the Maple Leafs game, the under.
Yeah, I think that actually went. They tied it up in the third period, and then the game went into overtime. So we did lose that but it was a good play, and I would
over
play it again.
The over for the for the what was it, the
Lakers Pacers.
Lakers. That was easy money.
Yeah, that was a nice sail on by play for me personally. The Yankees Giants under the first 5 didn't cash. The Sabres first period money line and the end of the 60-minute money line for plus 220. Again, that was just a sprinkle, but that didn't cash. But my two basketball plays, my NBA play featuring OKC, Spurs, Warriors, and Pistons, that sailed on by in a nice it was a nice full unit cash there. And then the Illinois State plus 7.5. They didn't just cover the spread, they demolished it. Prince, how did you do yesterday?
We did good. We've been hitting our soccer plays pretty regularly. So those cashed. Both of the show plays yesterday cashed for the FIFA series. We gave out those 2 plays and both of them hit. We also hit on our NBA play, Wolves money line. There was a little bit of a sweat. Took overtime to get it done, but we got it done. So another cash ticket there. Unfortunately,
another cash plus money ticket.
Another cash plus money ticket. Thank you for the correction. Absolutely very important. Unfortunately, we did not hit our parlay thanks to the freaking Cleveland Cavaliers. Remind me, guys, not to bet on their games anymore. I'm done with them. That team is just too up and down for me. I thought for sure they would be able to put up points last night, but they didn't. And so that was the one leg that lost our parlay. Otherwise, we would have had a completely undefeated day yesterday were it not for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But it's okay. We'll move on from it, and then we'll move on to today.
Yeah, excited. Where do you want to go to first? Do you have any soccer plays for us? I know that yesterday we gave at a play still valid because the World Cup qualifiers haven't gone off yet. So if you want to get in the bets, we have a number of plays for that. That was a podcast 2 days ago. Our show play, maybe we should be adding Jamaica to this, but we have a 2-leg parlay for plus 116. Ukraine, Sweden over 1.5 goals, and Suriname double chance for a half a unit there. Over on DK, good plus money. And again, if you want to add Jamaica, I don't think Prince would mind. They should be heavily bet on today. I believe that is your biggest unit play of the day.
It is. It's probably my biggest unit play of the year, you guys. To be honest with you, it is. I'm not one of these reckless cappers, right? I'm very very I would say cautious, and I believe in responsible betting 100%. So I'm not one of those guys that goes out there with 5-unit, 10-unit mega whale plays and all that crap. I don't do that. But I will say that I don't see any situation where New Caledonia is going to be able to keep it close with Jamaica tonight. That's going to be a late night kickoff. I believe it's at 11 p.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken, taking place in Mexico as we are getting into the World Cup qualifiers. The final spots for the World Cup are up for stake here. And New Caledonia, I covered this game on the World Cup qualifying podcast, guys, but I'll go ahead and give a real quick breakdown of it because I think it's that important of a look here. New Caledonia, this team is full of amateurs. They're full of semi-pro players. Their best top 2 players, if you will, are players that play in the 4th and 5th division of France. Okay. And so we're not talking about any type of skill level whatsoever here with New Caledonia. The only reason they're here is because FIFA granted the Oceania region 2 spots rather than 1 spot to have a chance to make the World Cup. So that 1 spot was given to New Zealand. Of course, I say given to New Zealand. They had to earn it, but New Zealand is just far and away better than all the other Oceania countries in the region. And so the fact that New Zealand is allowed to play in Oceania, in my opinion, is a little bit unfair. But it is what it is. They're just vastly more developed. Their football federation is more funded. They have more support. It's just apples and oranges when you're talking about New Zealand and the rest of the region. But in any case, New Zealand did advance, of course, to make the World Cup. But the second spot was up for grabs for all of the other little Oceania countries. It happened to be New Caledonia. So did they earn their spot here? You could say so, based on the FIFA rules and regulations. But in all honesty, here, this team does not belong on the same pitch as Jamaica. Jamaica is a fully fledged professional side here, with players playing in top leagues all around the world. Now, yes, Jamaica has had their shortcomings and downfalls. And I like to compare them to the Dallas Cowboys of CONCACAF, right? They're a team that when you expect the most from them, they give you the least. And so at any given point, they can have some down games and some disappointing matches. But, guys, we're talking about pros against amateurs here. I don't think there's any way possible that New Caledonia keeps this close. I absolutely love Jamaica on a -2.5, -3 spread. I gave this out on the VIP channel. I gave this out on the World Cup qualifying show, and I'll give it out here as well. You're going to get that. I got it a couple days ago. It was around +100. It's probably gone down since then. I'm not really sure, but in any case, it's worth it. Again, I think the mismatch is just too heavy here. I expect the Jamaicans to show up. I mean, you're talking about a chance to make the World Cup, so there's no reason for there to be any kind of letdown, any kind of overlooking your opponent, stuff like that. So I expect Jamaica to really lay the hammer down on this amateur side from a very, very undeveloped region in the Oceania region there.
Full steam ahead. Nobody
Full
is
steam
laying
ahead.
anything back.
No.
Holding anything back.
That's right. Yep, absolutely. So that's what I got for the World Cup qualifiers. Now, like I said, I do have some more picks here as we do have more friendlies here. So I'll go ahead and get into that right now, guys. We do have some more matches across the world here. But those of you who've been following me, you guys know two things, right? One, I like to dive into the slums of international football. I think that's where you find the best lines and the most advantageous positions. And I also like to bet in the Caribbean. The Caribbean region is where you specifically can find a lot of good value. And so that's what I'm digging into today, guys. So first up, we got a 4 p.m. Eastern kickoff where we have the island of St. Martin taking on Barbados. I got a 2-leg parlay here. First leg of my parlay is going to be for St. Martin just to score a goal here. That's all we need. We're looking at Barbados. They have allowed a goal in 29 of their last 34 matches. Meanwhile, St. Martin, they have scored a goal in 20 of their last 26 matches. Clean sheets are hard for both of these teams to get here, but as part of a 2-leg parlay, all I'm asking for is St. Martin to score against a Barbados side that is, you want to talk about leaky defensively. At times, their defense is non-existent. So I do think St. Martin has an excellent chance here to get on the board. So we're going to parlay that with another match here in the Caribbean region. Same time here, we got Bahamas taking on Anguilla. And this one, guys, I like a low-scoring game here. I'm going to take the under 3.5 goals here between Bahamas and Anguilla. We're looking at Anguilla here. They are scoreless in 12 of their last 16 matches. They haven't even scored a goal. And Bahamas, look, they really struggle offensively. They struggle to finish their chances. They're not very clinical up front. And so both of these teams here, I think we may see a lot of chances, but I don't think we're going to finish a lot of these chances. And so getting under 3.5 here, Bahamas Anguilla parlayed with St. Martin to score, and you're going to get that at -107 on a parlay. I think that's excellent value here, given the circumstances with these teams. Again, Stern, I don't mean to brush over you here, but let's keep this Caribbean train moving here, or Caribbean cruise, I guess would be the more appropriate term here. Next up, let's go to an 8 p.m. Eastern kickoff here. We're staying in the Caribbean, guys. Cayman Islands taking on the British Virgin Islands. Again, I like a low-scoring game in this one. Under 3.5 goals here. This is going to be part of a 2-leg parlay once again. Where we're looking at under 3.5 goals. This has hit in 4 straight matchups between these two sides. It has also hit in 6 of the last 9 for Cayman Islands and 10 of the last 13 for British Virgin Islands. So, guys, typically when you're dealing with these bottom-of-the-barrel teams in the world, where you notice the differences is offensively. They just really struggle to be clinical up front. They struggle to finish their chances, and I think we're going to see that again here with two sides that are very evenly matched. Unfortunately, they're both just not very good, and so I don't think we see a lot of goals here. So under 3.5 goals, Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands, and we're going to parlay that with another Caribbean matchup tonight between Bonaire taking on St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this one, I think we're going to see both teams score here. I like BTTS. This is the opposite of a low-scoring game because both of these teams, defensively, they're so bad that I think both teams will find chances to score. This has hit in 2 straight head-to-head between these two sides, has BTTS. It has also hit in 23 of the last 30 for St. Vincent and Grenadines and 7 of the last 11 for Bonaire. So both teams here coming to this one having a tough time keeping a clean sheet. Again, I think their defenses are poor enough where both teams will have plenty of chances to score goals. And I do think both of them will be able to get on the board here. So to recap here, we're looking at Bonaire, St. Vincent, and Grenadines. Both teams to score parlayed with Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands, under 3.5 goals. And you're going to get that parlay at +103. And then finally, for me, guys, we're going to get out of the Caribbean here, but we are going to feature a Caribbean team playing against an Asian team here. This one's going to be overnight, guys, 2 a.m. Eastern, Friday morning. So, most of us probably will not be able to watch this one, maybe be asleep, or if you work an overnight job, you're going to be working. But in any case here, don't worry about it, because this is a game you're not going to want to watch. I think this one's going to be real ugly, not an entertaining match here. China taking on Curacao. These are two teams that really struggle to score the ball here, score goals. I think we're in for a very unentertaining match here. I'm on two plays here, actually. I like under 1.5 goals at plus 188. Again, both teams struggle to generate offensive chances. And then I'm going to put a sprinkle here. Correct score, 0-0. You get that at plus 850. Guys, I never give out these type of plays. I don't give out plus 600, 700, 800 plays. But when I think the data is there, and when my eyes tell me that these teams really struggle to score and struggle to generate chances, not so much struggle to score. It's bad enough if you struggle to score, but they struggle to generate chances. So I don't see goals in this one at all, guys. Again, the whole game. Good thing it's on in the middle of the night. We don't have to subject ourselves to it. But
hold up. There is nothing better for me than an under sweat, and this is the ultimate under sweat.
Oh yeah. This is definitely it's an under sweat. But I honestly, guys, I don't think it's going to be much of a sweat. Anytime you're playing unders, it's a sweat, right? But no, I don't see goals in this one. China, Curacao, under 1.5 goals, plus 188, and then correct score 0-0 plus 850. I'll put a quarter unit on each of those. And that's all I got for soccer. I will have more plays over on X. You guys can follow me at PrinceOfPicks 10 over on X, and then I'll also have more plays in the VIP channel as well.
I love it. All right, let's get into baseball, if we don't mind. I absolutely love today's slate. It is opening day. Hey, one more time, Drew. What happened to your Giants yesterday? Sorry, that was the last dig. All right, we got Happy Paul Skeens Day again. I'm really sorry for that. That was a jerk move.
Drew. Just remember to do that to him every time the Yankees lose, and it will be good. All right.
Wait, what does Vladdy say? The Yankees lose.
Yeah, that hurt. All right. So, if you guys haven't been following me, last year, especially the last few years, actually, I have zeroed in on elite pitching, and I look for schisms about where maybe their underlying metrics don't necessarily match up with their actual stats, and I try, and vice versa as well. If they're not as good, but their underlying metrics say that they should positively regress, that's also one of my more favorite bets here. But starting on day one here, we have aces versus aces pretty much across the board. Now, we're going to get into it. I have a number of plays today, but if you haven't been following me before, again, happy Paul Skeens Day. All right. Betting on the Pirates is one of my favorite things to do when Paul Skeens is on the mound, especially for the first few innings. I want to see how they kind of come out in the next week or two. But last year on the road, they were actually a top 15 team in scoring in the first inning. Shocking. I know, because they were terrible. And Paul Skeens is Paul Skeens. He only let up a run in the first 2 innings. I think it was once, maybe twice, all year. It was once. It was 5.5 full months of baseball before he gave up a run in the first inning. So I was cashing on this a lot. Very much expect this to go through. Yeah. So I'm not going to do the first inning yet, but I'm going to do Pirates first 3 money line at minus 115, full unit. They're visiting the Mets on opening day. Freddie Peralta is an ace, no doubt. He's pitching for the Mets. He came over from the Brewers. But something that I mentioned before with this new ABS system, pitchers that sometimes don't have perfect control might struggle missing the plate, especially early. And he has a 9.1% walk rate, which is not good. Any metric, any stat, any combination of that, it's not good. And you combine that with a 3.85 xFIP, and you're going to see a pitcher who's going to be especially vulnerable to the new ABS system. And I do like the Mets overall. I think they're a great team. I think they're going to be in contention to definitely even probably win it all. But Skeens is on another level. we can go through his stats if you want. I don't think we necessarily need to, but he has a 30.1% whiff rate, which is actually funny enough, similar to Freddie Peralta. The difference is, like I said before, Freddie Peralta has problems with barreling up. His XFIP number is almost 4, and his barrel rate is 9.3. Skeens, on the other hand, his barrel rate is 5.8. His opponents have an expected batting average of just .202. This man is on another level. He is possibly the most talented pitcher I've ever seen with my own two eyes. That includes some heavy hitter names that I've watched over the years, all right? But this man is an absolute beast. He is getting better. He is young. He is working on his pitches, which is just the scariest thing I've ever heard of, because his pitches are already on another level. When you watch him, you can literally see the ball move left to right and right to left at will at 100 miles per hour. I can't say more than I think probably who's going to be the best pitcher of our generation. Anyway, sorry, I'll get off that one. You might say, hey, are we worried about the Pirates offensively? Yeah, I'm a little worried about the Pirates offensively, but if this ends in a tie, we get our money back. I highly doubt that the Mets are going to be able to score more than one run. If they score, it's going to be like the World Baseball Classic, where Skeens leaves one a little bit down and maybe over the plate, and then someone could take advantage of it if they guess correctly. I highly doubt it. Pirates just added Brandon Lowe, Ryan O'Hearn, and Marcell Ozuna to boost their offensive production. And I think with those three players, we might be able to see a little bit more offensive production from their team overall. And again, like last year, they had, O'Neal Cruz. They had some people who could put the bat to the ball. Anyway, this is all my long way of saying that I think the Pirates' first three money line is a golden opportunity to bet on the best pitcher in baseball, or top two. Drew, Prince, you got any thoughts on that game?
Yes, I actually do. One thing I found interesting that I saw really good value is, especially with the Mets, they've been looking for a pitcher, starting pitcher, to go like at least 6 innings, because they had a streak where they didn't have one starting pitcher that went through like 6 innings for a long time. I think Nolan McLean was actually the rookie who broke that, because Sean Manaea was struggling to do that. Clay Holmes was struggling to do that. They were counting on David Peterson, who was like the only one who was able to do that.
And the pressure got to him eventually, because he was the only one to be able to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And then something I saw with Freddie Peralta is, when I watch him, yes, he does throw a lot of balls, but he's also a pitcher that I think his average last year was like 5.1 or 5.2 innings pitch, and his 15 and a half, his over 15 and a half right now was plus 145. I think that's incredible value. I know the Pirates have gained a lot of like firepower, which is 3 out of 9 on a lineup is a lot more than people realize, about like 30-something%. But I trust Freddie Peralta here. He's the opening day starter for a reason, especially I know the Mets overworked the bullpen last year. They usually towards the end of last year, the Brewers were preserving him, but it was only for the postseason, because his last like major start, I remember they only let him go, I think, like 44 pitches or whatever, or something like that. But they're preserving him for the postseason mainly, and they didn't need the win. But if you look at some of his starts, like there was like one start where he went below 5 innings. He had multiple starts over 5 innings. So I really like that over 15 and a half, that you can get him at plus 145 personally. And I'm willing to put like 0.3 units on it. I'm going lighter to see how they handle, pitchers and stuff. But I think that's incredible value, especially for a Pirates team that likes to swing early a lot. And they also, yes, they did add Ryan O'Hearn, Marcell Ozuna, and Brandon Lowe. Brandon Lowe can be a high strikeout guy. Ozuna is really good at drawing walks, but he also, one of his weaknesses is that he takes strikes a lot. And Freddie Peralta likes to get ahead early usually. And usually when he's kind of wild is towards like the 4th inning. So for a pitcher, that's usually allowed to go 900 pitches. And he's definitely an ace. He had a sub-3 ERA at 2.7, high strikeout pitcher. I think he should be able to at least go 5.1 innings.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I expect a lower scoring game overall. If I had the lines that I had now last night, because I do try to get this in the night before for my premium subscribers over on Substack, and then I do share them on some social media feeds. I may have preferred a first five under exaggerated parlayed with one of the games that are going to be coming up, which I'll talk about in just a second. But yeah, I don't mind the over on the outs at all. There's a reason why they brought him in. And like I said at the beginning of the take, I do think he is an ace. Just don't think he's at the level of Paul Skeens.
And Paul Skeens out scared me, by the way, because I don't know what the Pirates do. I'm done betting his outs. I
Yeah,
swear.
yeah. Yeah, okay. We'll get into load management maybe on a later show. Let's get into my second pick here. I'm going to take the Red Sox first five money line win only. You can also find this on an Asian spread on the first five at -0.5. All right, so if it ends in a tie, we don't win. Now, we're going to be betting Garrett Crochet. All right, I think he's very much in contention for the AL Cy Young Award. And this Red Sox lineup, you might not know a lot of the names, but you will soon. They're a beast of a lineup. They are great at contact, and they're playing the Reds in Cincinnati. That's a very good hitting stadium. This is not a good pitching environment by any means. All right, and like I said, Garrett Crochet is an absolute dog. He is possibly one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. If you're going to go through his metrics, it's a well above average across the board. He has almost a 30% whiff rate, 31.3% strikeout rate. His barrel rate's 7.3, hard hit rate 37.3. He is a phenomenal pitcher. And no shade really to Andrew Abbott, who he's facing on the other side for the Reds, but let's face it, you're looking at his stats and metrics here. He has struggled with striking pitchers out. He is not getting a lot of whiffs. And when you're not getting a lot of whiffs on your just your pitches, you're really kind of relying on contact. That is a dangerous situation against really a good contact Red Sox team. All right. And again, we're not going to really bring up so much spring training stats because sometimes they're just working on a certain pitch. They don't really care about the stats so much, but he gave up more than double-digit runs in the last few starts in spring training. I don't think he's really ready for the Red Sox, and he might pitch really fine, but we only need 1 or 2 runs, I think, to cash this. I love the Red Sox first five money line win only at -120. And I feel like a bad Yankee fan saying that. Drew, do you have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Andrew Abbott. When Hunter Green was out, he was definitely their ace. He struggled towards the end of the year, but he still ended with a very solid ERA at the end of the day, with his like 2.8. Something about Andrew Abbott, you're right. He doesn't strike out. He doesn't really aim for the strikeout. He aims for soft contact. And then also for him, he doesn't have the benefit of playing. He plays at one of the worst pitching ballparks in general in Great American Ballpark. So that where I noticed he struggled. I noticed he does much better on the road. I believe he had a start against the Red Sox last year. We did pretty decently, but I
Oh,
like
he's a
this Red.
great pitcher.
Oh yeah, oh
He's a
yeah,
great pitcher.
yeah. I
Yeah.
like this Red
I'd
Sox
say
lineup
this.
though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would say I like this Red Sox lineup though, especially at Great American Ballpark. I love Crochet. In this, I actually have a 3-man outslay involving him, which I can talk about later. But yeah, I like your first 5 innings money line, especially with Roman Anthony back in the lineup. I keep saying he's the heart and soul of that team at such a young age, especially with Bregman gone. So yeah.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a hits, runs, and RBI prop, I don't mind him at all. You're going to see players who were playing the World Baseball Classic kind of warmed up a little bit. I think on the batting side more than the pitching side because the level of competition not exactly the same. Pitchers may struggle going up a level. I think batters just had an extended spring training against good pitchers. Anyway, I think Roman Anthony is an excellent play for a hits, runs, RBI prop. I don't typically play them. I'd like to see a little bit more data and statistical stuff before, but I think that's a great pick and a great call out by you. All right, I'm going to go with a 4-leg first 5 money line parlay. I don't really like to play these so much. I only put a quarter unit on it. But I did play each individual game on the first 5 money line win only line as well. All right, so it's a total of 1.25 units overall. If you guys want to skip this, no problem at all. Just my two main plays are the Pirates and the Red Sox. I think that's an excellent. Those are just two excellent plays. I couldn't resist. It's just opening day baseball. I couldn't resist. All right, I'm going to take the Astros, Tigers, Dodgers, and Mariners. Astros, Tigers, Dodgers, and Mariners. All right. 0.25 units. You can get this at plus 471. All right. So you have a really decent payout here. And then I'll read through the half a unit plays here. Astros first 5 is minus 115. Tigers first 5 is minus 155. Dodgers is minus 162. And the Mariners is minus 125. All right. So not great juice. And I'm playing it anyway, mostly because it's opening day baseball and I couldn't resist. But the Astros are getting Hunter Brown, who we talked about. He's my favorite dark horse to kind of win the Cy Young. He's following up a phenomenal year where he's consistently improving his pitches and his metrics, literally across the board. And he's facing the Angels, who are starting Jose Soriano, who is due for major negative regression from my stats and metrics that I'm looking at here. He has serious control problems at times, 10.6 walk rate. And he's facing an Astros lineup that just projects to be much, much stronger than the Angels. The Astros historically have been a wonderful, great home field advantage team, right? And the Angels have been amazing at home, but terrible on the road. All right. So the Angels are visiting the Astros. I like to combine all that, bet on the better pitcher. I think that that first 5 money line win only is at minus 115. I think that's a steal. More than happy to include in my first 5 as a parlay piece here. All right. The next leg is the Tigers, right? Facing, oh gosh, I don't have that written down here, but Padres, right? Tariq Skubal, all right? The other potential best pitcher in all of baseball. He is in a contract year, all right? And he's pitching against the Padres, who have a phenomenal lineup. They really are. They're a great team. But they're starting Nick Pivetta, who also, like I said, he's an ace, but struggles with control at times, and he hasn't really been consistent as of late. He has a very low ground ball rate. This Tigers team is ferocious, pun kind of intended, as they're the Tigers. I really think that betting on Skubal is just a smart play here. I know the minus 155 juice isn't sexy, but adding into the parlay piece, I think is phenomenal value. Next up, we got the Dodgers versus Arizona. All right, the Diamondbacks, we got Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Once again, one of the best pitchers in baseball, facing Zach Gallen, who has also struggled as of late. What can you say? LA is just a beast of a team. I love Arizona. I think they're feisty. I think they're excellent at late inning comebacks, but most of their wins and most of their runs come from the 7th inning on. Not necessarily every game, but when you're looking at the overall metrics of the last few years, that's what I've seen. LA is just the best team in baseball, I think, hands down. Do I think they win 105 games this season? Probably not, but I think that's because of load management. When they have their entire team together, this is going to be a hard team to beat. Give me the Dodgers at an inflated juice, minus 162 on the first 5 line by itself, and add it into the parlay as well. Last but not least, we get the Mariners. All right. Do I expect them to negatively regress a little bit in Cal Raleigh? Sure, a little bit. But I'm going to bet on Logan Gilbert. I bet on him pretty consistently over the last few years. It's the most pitcher-friendly stadium there is out there. All right. And they're facing the Guardians with Tanner Beebe. Guardians are really good at contact, but Logan Gilbert doesn't give up a lot of contact. Tanner Beebe, I mean, he's all right, but he has major regression incoming. I do not see him being able to. Last year was major regression incoming, and I don't think that it positively regresses. I think that the last year was the regression, if that makes sense. Anyway, Mariners have an insane team. I think they're better offensively than the Guardians. I think in their home court here in a good pitching environment, I think that I give them the edge any day. Minus 125 on the first 5 lines seems like a good deal to me, and adding them onto the parlay piece with their money back on a tie, I think that's just excellent. Sorry, that was a lot. Drew, do you have any thoughts on these 4 games?
Oh yeah, and I do of course have some picks today, but on those four games that I found interesting were so something about Logan Gilbert that I've learned is yes, he is the much better pitcher, but he's also one of the worst pitchers when facing the lineup second around the time and third around the time. So that's one thing he scares me with Logan Gilbert, I will say. And then Jose Seriano, right? I love Hunter Brown. He's amazing. But also, Jose Siriano's two best starts last year were against the Astros. That was just kind of what I was saying. I think he pitched 7 innings in like 6.2 innings. So something about him, yes, he does have terrible control, but we'll see if he can still do the same thing against the Astros he did last year. But I don't necessarily see the Angels being able to hit Hunter Brown well. Hunter Brown usually when he kind of deteriorates is like the sixth inning and stuff like that. So I kind of I like that one a lot.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, listen, you go for it. If you have any plays, I guess now's the time. I'm finished with my
Oh, okay.
MLB plays. Although I will kind of foreshadow, I do have a little bit of a home run sprinkle at plus 750. But anyway, go on.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I mentioned, of course, the Freddie Peralta. Another thing I was looking at too, instead of just betting like three other outs individually because one has major juice, I'm gonna do a three man. I think it's plus 377. If you have a boost, you can get like plus 500. The first one on that list of games of outs is Joe Ryan's under and outs. I believe it's at minus 200. So he's the first part of the lay. Joe Ryan, I am a big fan of him, but he did kind of in mid-February, he did have like some shoulder inflammation. He struggled towards the end of the season last year to go deep and to pitch counts. And he's facing an Orioles team, a revamped Orioles team who knows how to hit well. I love the pitcher Trevor Rogers. Trevor Rogers, if you think about it, when he came back from injury and he came in, he was possibly the best pitcher in baseball during that span. He had like a 1.8 ERA and was unstoppable. But I'm going to see if the Orioles will work manage him because I used to always bet him over and outs because they wouldn't adjust to the means. If he could always go like 6 innings or so. But that's my first part of the lay I like. The second
By the
part,
way,
yeah.
oh, sorry. I did mention it yesterday. I bet it personally. It's not an official play, but I did put a half unit on the Baltimore Orioles minus 138. I think I got it at. Yeah, I got it at minus 138 over on FanDuel. I do like them to win the game overall. The only reason why it wasn't an official pick is like kind of what you said. Joe Ryan is an absolute animal. And every other game that Joe Ryan isn't pitching for Minnesota, I'm going to fade them. Just wanted to kind of lay off officially. But yeah, I think Trevor Rogers is one of the better pitchers in baseball. This first game is going to tell us a lot about how the rest of the season is going to go, I think.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
sorry for interrupting. Go on.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, that's why I prefer doing the under 15.5 at minus 200 for Joe Ryan because I see they're monitoring him really well. He also struggles with control. I'm not saying he'll give up a lot of runs, but I don't see him really going past 5 innings. He hasn't really been able to do that as much, even in spring training or the end of the season last year. And then the second one is Garrett Crochet. This is a gift to me to have him at 17.5 based off. I know he pitched his most innings as a starter last year, but I know the Red Sox philosophy. They want to work their starters. We've, of course, seen it with Alex Cora. He likes to do that. And usually we're used to Garrett Crochet being at 18.5 outs. So let's add over 17.5 outs for Garrett Crochet at minus 125. And then the very last one I'm going to add is let's go to the Phillies Texas Rangers. It's Christopher Sanchez, Jose Eovaldi, Philadelphia, another one of those philosophy type philosophy with pitchers where they want them to go deep. The Phillies aim to pitch for contact and they get a lot of ground balls, but it's kind of like I think you said yesterday, they managed to get strikeouts. But Christopher Sanchez, the idea that we're getting him at 17.5, I don't care if it's the first game of the season, is absolutely amazing. He's another one of those guys that's usually at 18.5 or 19.5. So I'm going to add his over 70.5. With that equals plus 377. I'd recommend putting like 0.10 units or 0.20 units on it because I'm adding a boost to make it to plus 502. So that's my first one. My first bet. What do you guys think of that? My second bet, technically.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I did look really heavily at that Rangers Phillies game. Something that stood out to me there is Adolis Garcia facing his old team now on the Phillies. I think that the Phillies have one of the best roster constructions in all of baseball. I'm really impressed what they did and how they constructed their bullpen, their starting rotation, and their lineup. They're going to be a really hard team to beat. I've been thinking that the Rangers has been a dark horse kind of for the last year, but it hasn't really come through. Not the game for them. I love Christopher Sanchez in the spot. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Oh yeah, definitely. And to the viewers, by the way, 17 and a half out means that he has to go 6 innings, right? So there's 18 innings and there's 18 outs and 6 innings, and then 15 outs is 5 innings. So if people want to know how player outs work, that's why they do 15 and a half. So that means if it's 15 and a half, he has to get 1 out in the 6th inning. So in that regard, I was thinking about Scooble adding Scooble for his 17 and a half outs, but there's something about him is his 17 and a half outs is a move to -160. It was like -130. I don't really want to add another one to that. I was going to do it straight, but that's too much juice to do it straight. And then another one that I was very interested in that I found very interesting and suspicious, but luckily it's later on. The fact that Yoshi Yamamoto is 16 and a half at +110 is crazy to me because the Dodgers, they don't load manage their starters at all. David Roberts, as we all know, guys, is one of those where he loves to work his starters regardless. Like he doesn't necessarily care how many innings they pitch and stuff because he does not like his bullpen. I know they revamped their bullpen a lot, but Yoshi's always been a workhorse for God's sakes. We saw him in the World Series, pitch back-to-back games. I think Vegas is thinking this philosophy changes. I think they're going to want to workload him. So I'm not going to do it quite yet because the game's not until 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Pacific, but I think that's too low for him. Besides that, I have a couple lottos. I want to know, I guess, your takeaways on like the other things I mentioned before I go to my lottos.
So the one thing I'm worried about with the Arizona, I do think that he pitches pretty deep into the game. He is one of those old school type of players who, like in the 90s and early 2000s, where you really took pride in shutting down the opposing team for 7 or 8 innings. I think every time he stands out there, he's like, I'm going to pitch a perfect game.
Yeah, like he
Is
stands out
that
there like
type
I'm going
of
to pitch
mentality.
6 to 7 innings.
Easily.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's that mentality.
that's why I don't understand the
I
16 and a half outs.
I am worried just on opening day, placing a lot of bets on overs. I tend to lean unders in general. So I'm going to play obviously everything that you're playing, but I'm just being careful until I see like a few weeks worth of kind of getting their arms ready and stretches. And, it's a long season and nobody wants to burn their starter in the first day, but I do tend to agree on the starters that you have mentioned so far.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing, yeah, of course, like what I like to do generally, guys, is especially for the Peralta one, I'd recommend at most half a unit. Usually I'll go unit plays for when I do my straights for overs, my overs for player outs. But for Peralta, I'm gonna do like 0.3 to half a unit to see how they do it. For certain pitchers, I noticed for opening day, for like certain pitchers, kind of like what Stern said, it's like for like Crochet and you see like the other pitchers I mentioned, like Christopher Sanchez. Those are guys that will pitch 200 plus innings, per year. And usually opening day, they want their starters, especially something that's key. Also, I will mention this is very key in baseball. I know probably Stern knows this, and I think Prince is learning a little, of course, in baseball. Is in the first game of series, you want your starting pitcher to go deep as they can, so you don't have to use your bullpen the rest of the series.
Yeah, yeah, this is going to be an interesting side. I think that they want to set the tone early for a lot of teams, so I don't disagree there. All right, do you have any little sprinkles? Oh, yeah, do you have any sprinkles? And Prince, do you have any thoughts in baseball in general? Do you have any questions, anything that you want to point out? I know that you're Chicago. I do lean Chicago today, but the price is just stupid, so I'm not
Which
going there.
which Chicago? Sorry, I don't know who's playing. Is it the White Sox or Cubs?
Funny enough, both.
Okay. Okay, good. Awesome.
I
Uh
actually kind of like both teams today, somewhat. But the
okay.
Cubs
Rare,
was the
rare,
team that I'm actually
It's
referring
Dave
to.
rare,
Boyd.
Yeah, rare occasion where you're actually on both Chicago teams on the same day. No real
So
questions, guys.
yeah,
I'm still learning. Like Drew said before, I'm learning from you guys as well. So I'm just soaking it all in, and eventually I'll start having some questions as I get a little bit better of a handle on baseball. One question I do have though for you though is you said you like what was your 4-leg parlay again? It was the Red Sox, Tigers, Astros, and Dodgers. Is that first five or is that money line?
that's first five. That's first five. I
Okay,
have not.
what do you think about that for money line?
Yeah, that is the money line. Oh, for you mean the full game money
Full
line?
game money line. Full game money line.
Yeah, I lean there as well. I mean, I don't. The problem with the beginning of the season is a lot of bullpen pieces are moving around, and we're not really sure how everyone's going to respond in the new environment. Now, that can be true across the board for batters, for the starting pitchers and everything, but I feel more comfortable seeing about 2 to 4 weeks worth of data before I start bringing the bullpen in consistently. But I mean, listen, the Astros have a really good closer. I think I think every single one of these plays is good on the money line as well. If you can't bet the first five, I would pivot, maybe bring down the unit size a little bit. I'm only putting 0.25 units on this as it is, so maybe you bring it down to 0.15 or 0.2. But yeah, I don't mind it. It's just not necessarily how I prefer going about it just yet.
Okay, only reason I'm asking because I know some people like to use specific books, and maybe the first five it might not be available on their book. I mean, I think first five is pretty commonly available, but there might be some books maybe that it's not. So just for those people, I'm just curious how you felt about the money line. But it sounds like maybe it's too early to be betting money lines. We want to wait a couple weeks before we start safely and consistently and I would say confidently betting money lines. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you could look at it 2 different ways. One, you could look at it as each team's bullpen is fully rested and they're going to give it their best to start the season. That's definitely one way to look at it. And I think you can see that as an advantageous spot, especially if the team is up early
So
by a
there's a
lot.
lot. So there's a lot of variables in the bullpen. Is how I'm taking it. And
It's
that's what's
always
cause for
more
concern.
variables entering. That's why I like to focus on the first 5 innings. Also, the reason why I like to focus on the first 5 innings is I'm fairly confident that the aces of each of these teams is going to go 5 full innings. They're not putting them out there to go 4 innings or 5 innings and less than 5
Yeah, we
innings.
literally saw
They
it
are
yesterday.
there.
Webb had like 6 earned runs and he still won 5 innings.
Yeah, they're not taking them out. At any rate, it's good practice to start getting into the full season. You want to start stretching their arms out. But once you go past 5 innings, usually translates to around anywhere between 75 and 90 pitches, maybe 65 pitches and up, really, for someone who gets a lot of contact. You're adding in a lot of variables. You're adding in some pride. You're adding in a lot of things where things can go wrong quickly. If you're pitching lights out for 5 full innings, and then you get into that 6th inning and your arm's a little tired because you've already pitched 75, 80 pitches, you can make a mistake easily. It's just something that I didn't want to take into account just yet until I saw the trends and how the ABS system works, how the bullpens are fitting in. It's just my preference, honestly, but I don't mind the money line look as well, the full game.
Okay.
I will say on the Pirates play, I would bring that down way down if you're playing the Pirates full game. You could get that, I think, at plus 105. And there's a reason for that. And it's because the Pirates aren't really that good. The Mets are. The Mets offensively should win out over the entire game. I'm only focused on the first 3 innings because Paul Skeens is Paul Skeens.
Okay.
Do not think the
Sorry.
same thing of the Red Sox. The Red Sox, I would definitely pivot for a full play here. I would look for a -1 on the spread. So if they win by exactly 1, you get your money back. And if they win by more than 1, you win. Instead of going with the -1.5 for plus 115. If you do have to go to the -1.5 at plus 150, I'd bring that down to a half a unit.
Okay, and yeah, I appreciate all the information, and I don't mean to keep asking questions. It's my final question, but
No, please do.
yeah, I'm just curious. Like I'm still trying to learn here. So is it too early to know if a bullpen is good or not? Is that kind of where we're at right now? Because the beginning of the season, we don't have enough data yet to know like who's got a strong bullpen and who doesn't. Is that kind of part of the problem as well? Is just that it's too early to
Yes and
tell?
no. I would say it's easier to judge a lineup what team is going to be better or not based on projections on the lineup. It's easier, at least for me, to see. I think it's harder in general to see how a bullpen kind of works together. You have a general idea of who's going to be good, who's not. You have a general idea of what teams manage their bullpen, what hitting environment their home stadium is in, what they kind of tend to do. Are they like the Rockies, where their starting pitchers are just not that great and they're going to have to be forced to use their bullpen early, which will tax them? And like there's just a lot of variables that you can kind of see ahead of time, which makes it a little bit predictable. But like I said before, it's not as predictable as some other metrics, as, let's say, just looking at the first 5 innings of aces starting. So that's kind of where I like to stay. But
Yes.
it's not that you can't see. There's definitely some teams that are going to be better than others right off the bat. But again, like I want to see the proof in the pudding before I start putting my money on it.
Yeah, and there's also Prince, something that I always like to remember. I'm not really a big like regular money line guy. I kind of like to do what Stern does in the first 5, because you need to think about this, right? If you win exactly 100 games, that means you lost 62 games. So that's what you need to think about, and that's kind of what I think about, in a way where it's kind of hard, because like even the best teams are going to lose at least 60 games. So it's a long season, so variable can happen. Like, oh, how the heck did the Dodgers, lose to the Rockies? Well, it's a long season, at the end of the day, and that's one of the hard things for it.
Yeah, speaking of, by the way, if you guys haven't seen the show, I think I put it on yesterday's recap and I talked about it 2 days ago in depth. I do like the Rockies to win more than 54 games this season. It's a gross play. I also like the Dodgers under 105, another gross play, but fade the public. You'll make money.
Definitely.
All right. Drew, give me your
Yes.
little sprinkles here, because I want some plus money on my opening day baseball.
Let's go. My first one I'm gonna do is it's not as sexy as the next one I'm gonna say, of course, but it's an 888 strikeout thing, right? So I got it for, I believe, plus 1400, and I'm using some fan cash as well on it. So the strikeout play that I got, we're gonna do Garrett Crochet 8 strikeouts at minus 115. Hunter Brown, 8 strikeouts at plus 125. And then Nick Pivetta, 8 strikeouts at plus 280. That adds up to 1498. Plus 1498. Gregor Crochet's was strikeout machine. Something the Reds did a lot was strikeout. The Angels were actually, I think, the worst team in the league at striking out last year, and I don't think that will change. And the Tigers, they're a good contact team, but they are very susceptible to the strikeout as well, especially with their top of the order that we saw with Kerry Carpenter and Riley Green and such. And Nick Pivetta is somebody that will usually they allow to go like 90 to 100 pitches. So I like that. That's my first one for plus 1498.
Yeah, I put a few bucks on that just to sprinkle. It's not terrible. Like I said, I'm a little bit nervous. It's 8 is not a small number. You're basically averaging 1.3 per inning, 1.2 per inning. So something to keep in mind. But I think each of these pitchers have a really good shot of doing it. You're definitely picking the right teams to pick against.
Yeah, because it's something of course, I think the Tigers will probably win the game, but the Tigers are very susceptible, like to the strikeout, I've noticed. And then I have one home run lay that, of course, put a little on it.
Yeah, let's bring it.
Put
Okay, this is going to be an everyday.
Yes.
Every day we're going to bring a home run sprinkle. All right, Prince, I want you to do it too. All right,
Okay.
And if you guys listening want to do it, shout it out. Request to speak. You can come up. This is going to be a daily section of our show. Just like our recap, which we try to get to every single day. Bring us your favorite home run pick. Last year I hit these at about a 25% rate. So my goal is to pick ones that are over plus 400 so that I remain profitable in this. I did finish the year on quite a streak. I'm very excited to get into this. Drew, give me your home run pick of the day.
Yeah, so I did a 3-man lay. I didn't necessarily do one home run. Actually, I did do a one home run pick, but I'll get to that because Fanatics has like an MLB like lotto thing. But this is my 3-man that I did use some bonus bets, aka fan cash on. The first one is Pete Alonso against the Twins. Joe Ryan is very susceptible to giving up home runs. I know he didn't do much in spring training, but he has a high fly ball rate. And then I did Roman Anthony I think he's going to. He's playing a Great American Ballpark. He's facing, of course, Andrew Abbott, who is susceptible to the home run as well. He pitches for contact, so there won't be much strikeouts. And then Adolis Garcia, I know there's like a whole revenge game factor, and it's not always the best thing, to go based off of. But it's also the fact that Adolis Garcia, he's new to the team. He's facing Nathan Eovaldi, who was absolutely amazing last year. But the thing is, I think Adolis Garcia, we all know he has the power, and I think he's going to start off on a good note. So that is, I believe you can get that for, I believe, about plus 9,000.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, I do not like parlaying them together. I like each of these bets individually.
Yeah, that's why I'm using bonus bets on that.
So here's what my research told me about the games today. The two greatest ballparks for home run hitting today, including weather, wind blowing out, and the actual stadium, how big it is, and the opposite pitchers' dynamics. All right, the two greatest ballparks to hit home runs today is Great American Ballpark. All right, so I love that Roman Anthony pick, and Citizens Bank Park. I love Adolis Garcia. I think those are incredibly sharp plays. I really do. Where I went, sorry, yeah, go on.
No, I was just gonna say I have some too, but go ahead, go first. I'll finish off.
Okay, where I'm going is kind of what I hinted to before. Now, do I really like the White Sox to win the full game? No. Do I think they have a good shot? Yes, I do like them as an underdog here. I can get into Shane Smith. He's fully rested. I really like him. I'm going to be picking on Jacob Mizorowski. Now, he is a phenomenal arm. He is a top level talent. I'm no shade on him at all. But he does give up pitches in the middle of the plate. And he is susceptible to home runs because of the way that he pitches. So you're going to give me this new guy. Now, when I say this new guy, he is not new to baseball. He was a superstar in the Japanese league. But give me Munetaka Murakami. You're going to hear his name a lot. He is fundamentally altering the offensive ceiling of the White Sox this year single-handedly. All right? He could have gone to any team that he wanted. He wanted to go to a place where he was going to make the biggest difference. He is incredible. He won back-to-back MVPs in the Central League in Japan, 2021 and 2022. At just 22 years old, he won the Triple Crown. He hit 56 home runs. I mean, this guy is an elite bat that nobody knows. And I think that we're going to drastically underrate him. All right, let me get back to Jacob Mizorowski. He gives up 1.65 home runs over 9 at-bats to left-handed hitters. Sorry, should have added that part. I think that everything here tells me that Murakami is going to have a good game, and at plus 750, you're going to give me a home run prop? I'll put 0.2 units on that. Hell yeah. Anyway, Prince, what do you got for today? Who do you got for the home run?
Oh, that was the one I actually was going to do single too, Stern, believe it or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, you're looking at the metrics and you're looking at the data, and granted, it's not in the MLB, but this guy is off the charts. He's going to be a big,
Oh, yeah.
This number, I'm willing to bet that this number will be gone in a week or two, and it's going to be probably
It's because he
closer to plus
struggled.
400.
It's because he struggled towards the end of his Japanese career, but I think he'll get back at it. It's kind of like what you said with Jacob Mizorowski. He's susceptible throwing down the plate. Don't be wrong, he's going to be like Paul Skeens type level eventually. He just needs to control. But yeah, I liked the idea of that. And also another field that is going to be a good, I think, hitting field is Tropicana today, because they're at their old stadium and it's going to be 91 degrees with like a lot of humidity, means the ball is going to travel. So that's going to be interesting to see too. Go ahead, Prince.
Okay, yeah. My picks: Christian Yelich, Manny Machado, Freddie Freeman. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I don't think you are. I think those are decent looks on their own. You're picking good home run games, like higher scoring games. I like that a lot.
Good.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Shane Smith. He usually will go deep in games, and when he's on, he's on. But he is susceptible. He's a fly ball kind of pitcher, to where he can give up a home run, but he has zero lack of confidence. That dude, I love watching him pitch. He broke out last year at the beginning of the year, and he struggled a little bit. But something he does do, he has short term memory, so he won't mind giving up a home run and then still moving on. So yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want to send me maybe your home run picks along with the juice and everything, I'll definitely get onto the recap screen. And Drew, if you want to give me the unit sizes, if you're going to change it from just a standard 1 unit, definitely send that to me too. All right, we have gone a full hour basically talking a little bit about soccer and 45 minutes about baseball, which I will do every single day of the week. I love baseball. I can talk about every single game. I can talk about every underlying metric that I'm watching. Everything, more than happy. But we do have other sports today. Sadly, not sadly, we have March Madness tonight. That's going to be awesome. Drew, why don't you bring us into what we can expect tonight? Do you have any best bets, anything that we can be looking forward to? And then we'll get into the NBA and NHL really quickly. I do have plays in each.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Going to March Madness, we have 4 games today. We have Texas, Purdue, Iowa, Nebraska, Arkansas, Arizona, Illinois, Houston. I am looking forward to all these games. Of course, Texas, Purdue one, I don't really necessarily have play in that game. And then Iowa, I decided to do kind of a 3-man with the last 3 games that are from 7:30 p.m. Eastern to 10:05 p.m. Eastern. I did from what let me make sure I get this correct. Arkansas plus 15.5, Houston plus 6.5, and Nebraska plus 7.5, plus 100. If you have boost, you can boost it up more. I use my Fanatics boost to boost it to plus 150. I heard what you said, I believe, Prince, because you can't do Illinois games. So what I would recommend you do, I know it's less variance but more risky. But what I would recommend you do is lower the Arkansas spread and lower the Nebraska spread, and just do both of them together. But I believe Arkansas should be able to keep this game close within double digits. I think they actually have a chance to win this game. I'm a big fan of Darius Acuff. He's been the man of the tournament. Some people think he's the best player in college. You can honestly make that argument. This dude is poised. He acts like a vet, and he's amazing. And then Nebraska. I love the Huskers. Whoever wins this game, I think it's going to be very close. I trust Nebraska more than I do Iowa. I've watched both the games that they played during the regular season. Nebraska almost beat Iowa at Iowa. There's a lot of suspect ref calling in that game. And then the next game, Nebraska blew a lead, but then they won in overtime at their home court. I know Iowa's owned the series, but I think Nebraska is the better, well-rounded team. And this is Iowa's worst nightmare facing kind of team, because Nebraska doesn't like to run and they don't mind the pace being slowed down. And then lastly, Houston versus Illinois. I like Kelvin Sampson. When he does lose, he doesn't lose by a lot. And this game is going to be in Houston. It's primarily Houston fans there, and I think there'll be probably Nebraska fans there. But give me, I think Houston should win this game outright. No offense to Illinois. Illinois is an offensive machine, but no, Houston has been really good offensively, and they're good against bigger teams as well, because they're pretty big for their own right too. So I trust the better defense and the more seasoned coach than I do Bryce Underwood. So yeah, that's my 3-man for that.
Yeah, I played Houston on their own at a gross number of minus 146 over on FanDuel for a half a unit myself. Not an official play. What is kind of an official play, because I'm playing on the model that I've been sharing with the group here, over 139 at minus 110 here, gross over. But yeah, model says it. Got to bet it over 6 points of value on this one. So I'm all in on it. All right. Anything else in college basketball before we move on? I really hope Arizona wins it. I did play the minus 7.5 on the spread, getting nervous, but I do like them to get it in, and maybe that's just because I picked them in the pre-flop to win it all. Mostly because I think it's the anti-jinx from EC, but that's neither here or there. Any other March Madness before we move on to the NHL?
No, I don't have any necessarily early looks for the games tomorrow. I'm still looking at how the lines are moving. It looks like Tennessee is getting a little tiny bit more steam tomorrow. So I'm a big fan of Iowa State tomorrow. So I'll wait till tomorrow morning to do those games, since those games are later on at night. So yeah.
All right, sounds good. All right, in the NHL today, yesterday we had a lot of games. That was exciting. It was fun. Tonight, more of the same. Yesterday, only two games. Both underdogs won, which I thought was interesting. But today, lots of games here. Really kind of focused on baseball a lot, so I didn't really get too deep into it. But I did find two underdogs that I think that you can play individually. And Drew, I think you'll appreciate one of them. What I did was I took a 2-leg parlay at plus 2.5 on the puck line. So if each of these teams lose by 2, we still win. I took the Pittsburgh Penguins and the San Jose Sharks in this parlay. Penguins are underdogs to the Ottawa Senators, and the Sharks are underdogs at St. Louis to the Blues. Model shows a ton of value on both of these underdogs. I did sprinkle on each team's money line as well, 0.1 units, but the public are overvaluing the Senators on a 4-game win streak. They lost Tamas Chabot and Jake Sanderson on their defensive front. I think that's going to come back to bite them sooner or later. And the early sharp money appears to be on the Penguins last night. So I don't disagree with the value at all, combined with the model, combined with the fact that this is just a very heavily inflated puck line that you're getting for decent juice. Love this play. On the other end, the Sharks, I like them winning the Blues overall, but you're getting me plus 2.5. Blues play a grinding type of game that inherently leads to lower scoring games. And if you've been watching and listening over the last year or 2 years, 3 years, the lower scoring games, you take the points with the underdog. They really don't have the truly impressive metrics. The St. Louis Blues don't have impressive metrics to really back the recent play. And they had a shutout last time they were out. 2 shutouts in a row seems extremely unlikely for this team. So I think if the Sharks can score just 1, I think they cover the spread. I wouldn't be surprised if they win outright. How do you like me playing with the San Jose Sharks there, Drew?
Oh, I like it a lot. What was their spread?
So I took an exaggerated spread at plus 2.5 on the Sharks and plus 2.5 on the Penguins.
You're combining them.
Mashed them together for minus 145, which is terrible juice, but I think that the value is there.
No, I like that a lot with the Sharks. The Sharks are susceptible for giving up goals, but the Blues offense has been absolutely terrible. And I think the Sharks score 1 or 2 goals. They should be good. I'm always been a big fan of this Penguins team. The Senators team, especially they're missing people. I think they're one of those overhyped teams by Vegas. I'm not saying they're not good by any means, but they get, to me, over exaggerated on their odds too much.
Yeah, and my model really wanted me to take the underdog on the money line at plus 130 for Pittsburgh. What was the number on San Jose? Yeah, plus 125. Just didn't feel comfortable with it, so I took the exaggerated spread. We spent an hour on baseball, so I'm gonna go skip ahead to the NBA real quick, unless you have any other thoughts. Any other thoughts?
No thoughts.
All right, Prince, why don't you bring us into the NBA? We do have quite games here. Very excited. There's only 3 of them again. Knicks, Charlotte, the Kings, Orlando, and Pelicans, Detroit. I'm very interested to see where your thoughts were on this. I couldn't make heads or tails on almost any of these games.
Yeah, difficult slate for sure. Like you said, only a 3-game slate, so it's hard to find good value individually on these games. But what I came up with here was a 2-leg parlay. By the way, guys, I'm out on the Knicks. I'm not betting their games anymore. And other teams, just like the Cavs, 2 up and down. Just have no idea what to expect from them on a night-to-night basis. So until I see some consistency, I'm done with them. I do kind of lean towards the Hornets tonight. I love the Hornets. Full disclosure, guys, I've been on the Hornets for a couple months.
They're good again.
I feel like they are good again. And you know what? I'm not one to toot my own horn here, but I feel like I was on them a little bit earlier than everyone else. I saw some ingredients there. I saw the roster construction, and I thought there was some potential there for some quality basketball there. And then that's exactly what's happened. And I will tell you guys right now, if the Hornets make the playoffs, watch out. I think this team could definitely steal a couple games in the playoffs. But in any case, here we're talking about today, 2-leg parlay here. I like the Magic team total over 115.5. They're taking on the Kings here. The Kings have allowed an average of 124 points per game on the road. So I like Orlando here to get some points. We're going to parlay that with the Detroit Pistons. Team total over 110.5. Taking on the Pelicans. Again, the Pelicans, they have allowed an average of 119 points per game here. So we're just looking for two teams here to get some points. Magic over 115.5. Pistons over 110.5. And that parlay comes into minus 125.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I was trying to find a way to bet on, or I guess against the Kings, and I just couldn't figure it out. Their halftime,
That spread is too
full-time
huge. Sorry,
line.
that spread is too huge for Orlando. I can't. There's no way in hell I can lay that many points with Orlando.
Yeah, for sure. And that's ultimately why I stood away. I was really trying to find their halftime, full-time line, expecting it to be around -3 or -400, so I can parlay that with anything. The line was set at -800, which is one of the grossest things I've ever seen betting on a not great Orlando team.
Yeah, never.
So, yeah, I'm out on the NBA today. No place for me, but I do like your play, and I'm excited to watch at least 2 out of the 3.
Yep, that's all we
Well,
got.
I'll be watching the Knicks game. It's the Knicks. What
Yeah,
are
you
you
have
gonna
to.
do?
You have to. Yeah.
I'm a Knicks fan. All right, let's recap our best bets here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been a really long show. And again, I can just do probably an hour of just baseball every single day. Maybe we will at one point when I'm able to quit my job and do this full time. I hope none of my coworkers are listening to this, because I know that once in a while they do, and they'll like say stuff to me, and I was like, oh shoot, I forgot that this is all
Busted. Yeah.
public. Drew, why don't you give us your best bets and we'll get on out of here. We're going to recap them in one place so that you know where to go. And then obviously I will repost the show once I do post-production with the recap on there as well, so that you can follow along just in case you didn't hear us or didn't understand us or couldn't get it on time because we talked way too fast. All right, Drew, give it to us.
Yeah, for sure. I'll talk like an auctioneer for a second. I'm just kidding. My best bets of the day are the first one is I'll go with the college basketball one. It's Arkansas plus 15.5, Houston plus 6.5, Nebraska plus 7.5, all equal plus 100 together. Use Boost when you can for college basketball and baseball for sure. My next one that I have is Freddie Peralta over 15.5 outs. It's at plus 140. I'm probably going to bet lighter for outs, like 0.30 units to like 0.50. And then my next one that I have that I like a lot is a 3-man out slate. It's Joe Ryan under 15.5 outs, Garrett Crochet over 17.5 outs, and then it's Christopher Sanchez over 17.5 outs. Combine all of them, it's plus 377. If you have a boost, please use it. They're basically giving you free money if you win, so take advantage of those. And then my last two lottos I kind of have are I have Nick Pivetta, 8 strikeouts, Hunter Brown, 8 strikeouts, and Garrett Crochet, 8 strikeouts, about plus 1,400. And then the very last one for the home run lotto, I have Pete Alonso home run, Roman Anthony home run. And then the last one for that is Adolis Garcia home run. I believe you can get it for like plus 9,000. But that's it.
Yeah. I love, like I mentioned before, those are 2 of those 3 plays are in the best hitting environments in all of baseball today. While we're in baseball, I'm going to take the Pirates first 3 money line minus 115, Red Sox first 5 money line win only minus 120, a 4-leg first 5 money line parlay featuring the Astros, Tigers, Dodgers, and Mariners for 0.25 units. I also took Astros, Tigers, Dodgers, and Mariners on their first 5 money line win only lines as well, even though the juice varies greatly. Last but not least, I had a home run sprinkle of the day on Munetaka Murakami at plus 750, which is a price that I doubt we're ever going to see again, especially if he blasts one out today, which I really, hope he does. In the NHL, I have a 2-leg plus 2.5 on the puck line parlay, minus 145, featuring the Pittsburgh Penguins and San Jose Sharks. 2 good underdogs there. And then in March Madness today, we have Illinois Houston. I have the over 139.5, half a unit on a model play, and then a full unit on Arizona minus 7.5. Might switch that actually to a half a unit now that I'm giving it out publicly. But yeah, I love today. Today is one of the best days in sports. I know we've said that a few times lately, but you know what? It's gosh darn true. It feels like Christmas in not July, March. All right, Prince, close us out.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to the Caribbean, guys. Caribbean soccer action here. I'm looking at St. Martin to score a goal here against Barbados. We're going to parlay that with Bahamas and Anguilla under 3.5 goals here. You're going to get that around minus 107. I'm looking at another Caribbean matchup here. Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands under 3.5 goals. We're going to parlay that with Bonaire and St. Vincent and Grenadines, both teams to score. That one's going to come in at around plus 103 odds. And then finally for soccer here, we got a 2 a.m. Eastern kickoff. Thank God we don't have to watch this one. China and Curacao under 1.5 goals at plus 188. We're going to throw a quarter unit on that. Then we're also going to put a quarter unit on correct score 0-0 at plus 850. And then over in the NBA tonight, I've got the Orlando Magic team total over 115.5 parlayed with the Detroit Basketball Pistons team total over 110.5. That one's at minus 125 on a parlay. And then for our home run best bets today, give me Christian Yelich, Manny Machado, Freddie Freeman. Those are going to be my top three. And that is going to do it for us today, guys. We've got opening baseball, of course, today. World Cup qualifiers are kicking off here in about 15 minutes. March Madness tonight. What's not to like, guys? Let's enjoy these games. Let's catch out these tickets. And for all of us here at OnlyBets Sports Betting Podcast, SternBets, DrewDelucci, and PrinceOfPicks, we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks.